So this weekend, December 3rd, in the Wildcat Arena, we have the Wheeler Hoops Classic, sponsored by Adidas. Starts at 12 noon. Here's your game day lineup. Johnson Savannah versus Lithonia, Shiloh versus Columbia, Lee, Alabama versus Gainesville, Westlake versus Southwest Atlanta Christian Academy, Pebblebrook versus Berkmar, and Wheeler versus Green Forest. What do you guys think?
Well, we might as well start with the heavyweight title fight.
Yeah, last in, first out. We're going to hit that Wheeler Green Forest game, which, arguably two of the top teams in the state. When you throw in Norcross and Pebblebrook as well. I think what makes this game entertaining and anticipated is the fact that I think Wheeler, of any team in the state, has the size to match up with Green Forest's size. Now, having said that, they don't have Green Forest's size, but they do have size in E.J. Montgomery, 6'10", Austin Johnson, Jr.
The length and Jordan Tucker on the wing and
Jordan Usher.
For me, I think this is a classic matchup of big man versus wing player.
Yeah.
And you have, the depth inside with Green Forest, but you have the exceptional wing players with the Wheeler squad, and it's about style of play.
Well, and Green Forest likes to play that 2-3 zone, and they do it well because they got that size and they try to funnel everything into the big fella. But when you have a kid like Jordan Tucker who's got a limited range, he's going to open some things up. When Darius Perry has it going, he can knock down shots. Jordan Usher, same thing. So this team has the ability to really make their offense go by how well they shoot it on the perimeter against that Green Forest team. Because once that gets going, it's going to open some things up. Open up driving lanes for Kenny Allende, who also shot the ball well this past weekend at the Hoopsgiving. But I think the matchup is going to be, how can Wheeler really negate that size? How can rebounding the basketball is going to be critical.
I saw something different from Green Forest, actually. In the last two games, they played man, and they stretched the court. Guards picked up full court, put pressure on the ball, and what it did was it allowed them the freedom, knowing that they had a 7-footer back there that can change shots and block shots. So there's no telling how they're going to come out and play. They're familiar and known for the 2-3, but I've seen them stretch the defense and pick up and put pressure like they did against Norcross.
I think that was purposeful. And from the standpoint of, we don't want to show Wheeler what we're really going to do. We're going to play this man-to-man. But when we show up at Wheeler, at the Wildcat Coliseum, we're going to be in that 2-3 zone.
You know what I want to see, Wheeler, though? I want to see Wheeler run their kind of ball, their speed of ball, their fast ball.
Yeah.
It seems like when their pace is going, teams can't keep up with them as much. And so I want to see that happen for them.
A lot of that is they got to get rid of the ball quicker.
Move the ball, advance it, pitch it ahead. Mm-hmm. And another thing with that is you got to get stops.
Right.
You know what I mean? Wheeler teams were known for defense in the past.
Yes.
And it's hard to run when you're taking the ball out of the net.
Yeah, you're right.
So for this team, they got to buckle down, they got to get stops. And that would, in a sense, improve on the fast break and allow them to get out in the running lanes. And that happened against Jonesboro on Friday.
Right.
You know what I mean? They had about a 20-0 run in the middle of the middle of the second quarter that they got some key stops, fast breaks, and E.J. Montgomery got out and had about 3 dunks that were highlight.
The Pebblebrook Berkmar game, there's a lot of familiarity with that game because you have Colin Sexton, who played AAU basketball with Zach Cooks, with Al Durham, with Jay Estime. So you got some familiarity in that game. On paper, Pebblebrook looks like the better team. I always joke with people, when you got Colin Sexton on your team, you can't bet against him, because he gives you a shot. He's going to do whatever he needs to do to get his team in a winning position. Berkmar, though, has Al Durham, who signed with Indiana, slasher, wing, who can score and transition well, has an improved jump shot. You got Zach Cook, who I think is one of the smarter players in the state, going to NJIT next year. really crafty with the basketball. He can get it going from the outside. The thing that Berkmar doesn't have is size. We talk about Pebblebrook not really having much size, but Berkmar doesn't have much size. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. How well can Berkmar contain Colin Sexton? Can't stop him. How well can you contain him and all the other pieces? Drew Drennan, Elias Harden. How well can you contain them? It's going to be interesting. And then of course you got Jared Jones, who's still getting used to playing with all these guards, the quality guards. And so, you know, he's young, so he's still learning. So it's going to be an interesting matchup.
I think this game actually will be a lot closer than a lot of people think, but I think this game will be Jared Jones' outcome. This will be his breakout game for Pebblebrook, to let everybody know what his ability, what he's capable of doing. And he's had some tough matchups. It's hard to go up against IMG and them big boys.
Yeah.
It's hard to go down to Mount Vernon and get W's. His first 3 games were tough.
Because Big Stokes from IMG was working. I mean, the footwork he showed on some of those baseline moves were like, wow. You know, so yeah, you're right. Those are some tough matchups.
This might be his breakout game.
Yeah. And Jared Jones, of course, you know, committed to Auburn, so I want to mention that. So I think you might be right there, and it would be good to see for the young sophomore. Westlake Socar. Westlake, preseason, one of the top teams in the country. We got some good pieces. You got Chumo Kiki, who I think at any time, in any given game, might be the best player on the floor because he does so many things. Not just because of his individual talent, because he does so many things on the floor, whether it's rebound, defense, scoring the ball. He can get it going, shooting the ball from the outside. And he's an unselfish player, sometimes to a fault, because I think he can do so much more on the floor. Of course, you got the Lewis brothers, Jamie Lewis, the junior point guard, and Danny Lewis, who is going to UCF. When Danny is on, he can shoot it with the best anybody in the state. I've seen him have some games where he knocked down 7, 8 threes in a game. So that's going to be an interesting matchup too, from familiarity. When you got a guy like DeAndre Ballard, who played with those guys for so many years, so it's always one of those things, who's going to one up the other, you know what I mean? So it'll be a good matchup, and I guess Socar's got a big kid that just transferred over there. Yeah.
I think the loss of the big kid for Westlake is going to really hurt them this year. They added some depth at the guard spot with the young guy Chase Hunter,
yes.
He's going to be special.
Yeah.
He's a good player. We all know what Jamie and Danny can do, and everybody knows Truman. But I think that loss of that piece in the middle is one voice that they have to fill if they want to continue the success that Westlake is used to.
Yeah, or like I try to tell people, or from what I saw this weekend at Hoopsgiving, you got to play the game the way I saw Norcross play the game. They did the best job I saw making that extra pass. Hey, Jesse does a great job with those guys, man.
Something about that Norcross, ain't it?
It's the blues in my blood. The blues in my blood. Lee, Alabama, Gainesville is going to be a good matchup as well. Gainesville, we're talking about Wheeler and Westlake and Green Forest and Pebblebrook, and we make mention of Langston Hughes being a tough team down the road. But Gainesville, those guys have been playing basketball together from middle school.
Right.
So now you look at a situation, they're juniors in high school, and they're talented. They got scorers. They're tough. They got KJ Buffin, one of the better wings in the state. So you got a team that can not only compete in their classification, but I think compete with some of the big boys in the state. We talked about Newton wanting them to play against some of the top teams. I would love to see Gainesville play against some of the top teams as well.
Well, Gainesville is not shy of playing top teams. They actually came to play Wheeler last year at Wheeler.
Right.
And it was a good game down the stretch. Great matchup.
Yeah.
The matchup that I want to see is Kobe Brown versus KJ Buffin. 2 versatile players, 6'7". Kobe has bigger body, can do a lot more with the basketball, but KJ is just tough.
Yeah, man.
He just wants to win.
You know, Kobe's probably the better passer of the two. But KJ Buffett is going to give it to you on the glass. He's going to battle. He's going to go inside. And he can knock down that 17, 18-footer. You know, so that's going to be a really good matchup. I'm glad that matchup was put together. The kid Malik Burnett, who's committed and going to Troy State. I think it's Troy University now. I think he brings a lot of energy to the table. So I think that matchup was also a pretty well put together matchup in the event. Columbia Shiloh. You know, you got one of the godfathers of high school coaching.
He's back.
And Phil McQuarrie, he's back in the game, man. So, you know, I think the teams in Decatur didn't want to see, DeKalb County did not want to see Phil McQuarrie back on the sideline.
Coach told me personally, give me 1 year.
That's it, man. He does a great job with his team, multiple state championships. He's had a lot of talent run through there. Took the last, 3-4 years off. He was the athletic director for DeKalb County. So I think just from a coaching standpoint, I'm glad he's back because he is really big in developing players and getting kids ready to play. And his kids do a great job on the floor. Shiloh, Shamari McLeod, Massenburg is another big player, Division I.
Committed to North Florida.
Massenburg, Middle Tennessee. Massenburg has committed to, and Coffee is a tough, heady point guard. Shamari, a wing, who I don't know if he's realized all his potential as yet, but he has a chance to be a pretty good ball player. They lost Elias King, which hurt, because I'm sure that was a player that Coach Rivers was relying on going into the season, and that was a last-minute loss. That wasn't a loss this summer. That was a loss a few weeks ago. So that'll hurt them, but I'm sure Rivers will get them back on track. And Shiloh also has sharpshooting wing Greg James, who's averaging about 5 threes a game. Probably one of the best shooters in the state. Johnson Savannah Lithonia. That's the first matchup on the day. Big fella Menzi Gomezi is probably the featured player in that game. Savannah, they're retooling. Savannah Johnson is retooling. They've been a tough team over the years. And Tim Quarterman, who was at Savannah Johnson a few years back when Savannah was tough, now played at LSU, now at the Portland Trail Blazers. And so they're going through a rebuilding year. So I expect the game to be good. Savannah's always tough. And so that's the matchup leading off the event next Saturday.
All right, so everybody join us for the Wheeler Hoops Classic, Wildcat Arena, Saturday, December 3rd, starting at 12 noon.